Hello, folks, and welcome to episode 10 of the HB Studio podcast with Tim and Kristin. In this last part with our guest, John Bost, we're going to speak a little bit more on leadership and how to build leadership around you. You know, it's very effective when a leader can inadvertently or directly build a leadership team going forward so they can step away and help people grow outside of their circle. Community matters, and that builds on leadership as well. And make sure you subscribe so you'll get that notification every other week when we drop another episode from the HB Studio podcast here in Clemens, North Carolina. Thank you. How can I utilize you to mold these other kids and bring that into the situation? So it was based on what they needed to do to be a great student. What was the nucleus for that, and then we can branch out from that. So it was that kind of understanding.
Can you imagine how many lives you impacted by that? Because that's the ripple effect of leadership right there. Because not only were you leading them, you were developing young leaders, and for every single person, whether they were a leader or not, you gave them practical skills to be able to mold their education in a more functional way.
That was my
and
hope.
You sent them out. Yeah. I mean,
and John, as a former teacher, understands that.
Yeah, that's leadership 101. I mean, right there on a young basic level.
Yeah, I'm taking a risk because former students, there could be 1,000 former students that could listen to this. But I remember the first few days of a new classroom. Of course, the tool I used for education was science and developing critical thinking skills and that sort of thing. I would always place the kids in alphabetical order only because of learning their name. And learning their name, I could then build a relationship with them. But I would watch for a light to come on. And I had a lot of toys as a science teacher. I could do stuff with fire and that kind of thing. And I would watch for a light to come on in their eyes. And then when I broke that necessity of alphabetical order, I would watch where they would sit themselves when they came into the classroom. And some of them were kind of forward mobile, moving closer to the front. They may have liked the experiments or something like that better. And then at the same time, some of them would reluctantly pair themselves because you're sitting at a science kind of desk in pairs. The tables, would pair themselves with people that were obviously leaders academically. And then I would watch how that happened and try to forge a relationship or find a way to help that student make a better choice of who they sat beside of, at the same time protecting that person that their academic progress might be somewhat limited by the partner that decided to sit beside of them.
That's a great way to put it.
So you watch that whole classroom management thing, and at the same time, learning styles. Who are the kids that learn literally better sitting closer to a window? Or the kid that learns best sitting right where there's a lot of auditory kind of verbal interaction with the teacher, that sort of thing. And all that time you're crafting a leader style. I think I can see, as I'm talking to you, I can see various leaders. One, I got a response this morning. Godson said happy birthday to him. He's about in his 60s. And at one point a student, very successful entrepreneur. And it's amazing, not all of those kids went to college either. A lot of them could frame their own life trajectory by the time they got out of high school. And there was no need for college. And I think that's a growing number of people as they begin to have the aha of what entrepreneurs can do. Because in my life growing up, you kind of did what your dad did or your mom did, or your community did, which is socioeconomically divided based on housing. But more and more kids, that younger generation, are catching on to that and making a way for themselves. And frankly, small businesses drive the economy now. So,
yeah, that's gonna be critical going forward too.
So for the teachers in the room, you two, I've never done that, but I was just like you guys involved with school and science. And when I was at Appalachian State University, I did a chemistry class, and I was paired up with a particular fella for my lab partner, and he was a narcoleptic. So we'd be sitting there using the Bunsen burner, and he'd be falling asleep. That was what I was assigned to. So what do you think my professor saw in me?
oh, wow.
Motivation, I guess. Was he? I mean, when he was awake, was he a good student?
He was a good student.
Okay.
He was.
Okay.
It was, I mean, great times. You learn a lot being paired with some people with some real life
I need more
challenges.
context.
Oh, that's another podcast, I'll tell you.
So what did you do when he fell asleep?
Yeah.
I would bump his arm and tell him to wake up, or I'd hold the thing and the little tube and just... Oh, I'm telling you, this guy, like, we would cut here, but like this guy would go on a run, and with me, we were good friends at the end, because I mean, chemistry in college is hard.
Yeah, buddy.
My 2:00 is here.
Okay.
But this one time he went to go tie his shoe during a run and fell asleep. I'm serious. It was real.
He stopped, went down on one knee,
He sat on a rock
sat on. Oh, okay.
and tied his shoe
Uh-huh.
and went like that.
Oh, bro.
And
Yeah.
you didn't talk to your professor to say, get me out of here.
No, because it was fine. You know, I mean,
That's why he did it.
He was a good student.
That's why he did.
When
He
he was
trusted
awake.
you. He trusted you.
Maybe.
You wouldn't take advantage of him.
No, not at all. I just can't imagine having that, you know. You guys keep on. I'm gonna go and do a meeting, and then I'm so sorry, but
Well, I have planned to run. My wife walked in right after I said I'll be here at 1:30 and said, "Are you going to pick up the kids at 2?"
Oh.
And I said, "No, I'll hardly be out of at 1:30." And she said, "See you." And so I've got to run her down.
guess what though?
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
I have a very strong feeling that might have been our strongest episode yet.
But this one, I agree.
Yeah, it seems like it. If I turn my mic at a certain, because my mic was like that, see where it was.
You're fine. Yeah.
It would have picked me up.
No, you're actually better the way it was.
Yeah. You're good.
Actually, the way.
Yeah.
No, the way you had it.
So this right here is the as long as you're talking into that logo, it's the best. So
Yeah.
you're doing
So I
fine.
probably screwed it up when I turned it, but
Not really.
It's
Not
toward
really.
the end part of it anyway.
You're
Yeah,
fine.
it did seem.
I really think that was our strongest conversation. That's going to be a really impactful 10 minutes.
We had the topic. We bounced back and forth with it. We expounded on it.
And it started very organically. Did you know we were talking about leadership today?
I didn't know we were live.
Yeah, so.
The HB Studio Podcast is brought to you by the historic Roy Hill in Clemens, North Carolina. The opinions and thoughts presented on this podcast are that of Kristin, Tim, and their guests alone. Our goal is to bring positive motivation through real-life experiences and training as business professionals. Thank you for listening.